My boyfriend's sex drive is a lot higher than mine. I'm usually the first person to tap out of a threesome. To be like, okay, you guys keep going. Like, you look like you're having fun. I'm tired.
That is awesome.
I'm glad we have 3. You know, 'cause
Nice.
now there's a spare.
Welcome to It's Probably You. I am one of your co-hosts, Paul. Here is my other co-host, Mary.
Hey, Internet.
We're back here on YouTube to talk about another submitted question. This time, I actually have thought ahead and have it right in front of me, so I can read it out loud to you. Can you do a Three's Company edition of It's Probably You about entering, enjoying, and maintaining relationships and friendships in the scenario of threesomes?
And let me just say, I've never watched Three's Company, so if there was some sort of like reference there that you wanted us to get, we probably won't talk about.
The TV show itself was, but they didn't actually have threesomes as far as I know.
Okay.
It was literally about 3 people living in an apartment together, 2 women and a guy. I think that.
Oh no, roommates.
I know, awful. It's interesting that the way the question was asked makes me think that the question asker has had some problems with trying threesomes in the past, or has stopped themselves because of perceived possible problems. Mary, you've experienced it before. How have you gone into it?
I have really lucked out with my threesome experiences. My first threesome, I was the third. I'm attracted to solid, healthy relationships when they're really into each other.
That makes sense. So it's as if a person is inviting you to get intimate with them. It just so happens that person is in the form of 2 bodies.
Yeah, I guess so. I think a lot of the way that the narrative around threesomes is constructed is one person is sort of like the bait, and then you have to, and they like proposition the third that they're interested in. Often the woman will be bisexual and will, go out looking for other bisexual women. That's kind of the trope. And then be like, oh, and by the way, do you mind if my boyfriend joins us? And I just think that is a terrible way of going about.
So thumbs down to that approach.
For a threesome. Total thumbs down. And I think the reason that a lot of people do that is they're like, oh, who would be like interested in couples? But no, couples are totally sexy. Like, as you're showing the third that you know like how to handle a relationship because you're in one.
It's true.
Successful threesomes for me have been like the couple just comes right out and says, we're interested in you. Would you like to play sometime? And I'm kinky, so like for me, like sex starts with this big long conversation of like what we're into and how much of a commitment we think we can give. The other pitfall that I see when people are looking for a third in their relationship, they think that it has to be like a very tightly controlled situation. Oftentimes this will be the first time that they're opening up, and they think, well, the way I'll be most comfortable with it is if it's someone who's into both of us and we do all of our sexual things together. Sometimes they even go so far as to say that the third can't have other outside commitments. And in Polyland, we laugh at those people and call them unicorn hunters. And we know that they're never going to get laid because that's a terrible deal.
I mean, that sounds like it's not too different from somebody who's in the one-on-one dating scenario who's trying to impose a lot of rules and restrictions on someone that they're just getting to know. Mm-hmm. The couple has had to have had a discussion of some sort, even if it's just a quick one, saying, do you want this person? Are you interested in this person?
Right. It was actually a really long time in my journey before I was comfortable being part of the couple. To me, that was a little bit scarier. The first one where I was actually part of a couple, my boyfriend had a friend who was coming into town. They had slept together before. Everyone's interest in a threesome was established beforehand. Though I did actually stop us midway and be like, okay, we're going to have the safer sex conversation now, right?
The safer sex conversation in the scenario of a threesome.
Super important.
Making sure that prophylactics are disposed of between partner use.
Change your condom.
Change your condom between your partner usage.
Yeah. Use condoms on toys. 2 people are a lot to satisfy. Toys are good. Gloves are great.
Gloves are great.
Lube, lots of lube.
The crux of the conversation is that even if an established couple has somewhat loose practices with regards to protection between themselves, you should go back to thinking that everybody is a new partner in a scenario of a threesome, because at least one person is new to both of you, using protection on everything and every person involved in the threesome.
It makes the third feel like you're respecting them.
Everybody feels safer then.
Yeah.
Do you ever end up establishing when is a good time to talk about bringing in a third person?
I think well in advance. Now I don't go out to bars necessarily and say I want to just pick up someone for a threesome. There's usually people in my life that I know would be interested. Love to get together with you. Here's kind of my list of what I'm into. Love to hear about yours. Are you straight?
I am straight, and I've considered joining in threesomes with male-female couples. And I've asked, does it matter if I'm not particularly sexually interested in the male partner? And the response I've gotten is varied. From some couples, they really wanted both of them to get my attention. And other couples have just said, that's fine, because he's going to get off on the fact that you're involved at all, that it would still turn on everybody. But that seems to be a per-couple dynamic. You have to figure it out in that couple whether or not that's going to work out. Mm-hmm. You brought up that as a couple, you could go to places where you could find someone who is open to joining as a threesome. This implies that there are people who are not interested in a threesome.
I would go to a sex club, not a regular bar.
So does that mean that threesomes can only be broached in the scenario of a more kinky environment rather than a vanilla environment?
Yeah, I actually don't know, if people, how people at your average bar would react to being propositioned that way. It might work.
So the advice I would give to scenarios where one partner or the other is not known to be open-minded in this fashion is to start off the conversation with talking about how you feel about each other. If I were just casually dating someone, but I'm already interested in having a threesome, then the first thing I'd want to do is not talk about the threesome, but talk about our relationship. Do you want to have a monogamous relationship? Do you want to date other people? Where is this going for you?
Yeah, that's an awesome opportunity to talk about what you each are into.
So in most scenarios, you'll define the relationship in terms of, do I want to just see you, or do I want to see you and be available to see other people? Start bringing that into the conversation where you would say things like, I only want to date you, but I wouldn't mind if we brought somebody else in once in a while. And that's assuming that you actually want to have a relationship. If this is totally casual, if you're just banging each other, then you should be able to ask the question about the threesome at any point in time. Because you're just banging each other. You are just...
one more person.
One more person, exactly. And worst case scenario, the other person says, no, I don't want that. Great. You just have the conversation. That's how easy it is. It's really only when you're concerned about the emotional mindset of your partner where you have to be concerned about bringing up that topic. But again, that topic is one that you can bring up while you're defining the relationship.
So what about people who are in a relationship that has been defined as monogamous and someone changes their mind?
I think that if you say, I want to talk about the relationship that we have that's labeled as this, and relabeling it as this, that feels different from saying, I like our relationship, but I also like this.
Yeah.
So my advice there is not to talk about changing your relationship, just talk about something that you'd like to add to it. Mm-hmm. Much in the same way that you might say, I'd like to add some vibrators to our sex.
And you should start your search for a third from a place of strength in your relationship, but I also think that threesomes can strengthen relationships.
Oh, I agree. If your relationship is rocky, and you think that bringing in another vagina or penis will help it, you are wrong. That will not help. That will just make it worse, and well, not necessarily worse, but make it more complicated. That's basically just another topic of conversation that you can have, more communication that you can have, where you share your thoughts and feelings with someone that you're dating or having a relationship with.
Yeah, it's a super nice feeling to be able to share, that threesome experience with your partner and say, we work together to get this person off. Teamwork.
I like that. Yeah. That's awesome.
I went to this great workshop on threesomes by Reed Mahako. I might be saying that wrong. He had these great ideas that I'm going to summarize probably poorly. If you think that a threesome might be brewing, you just like acknowledge that this could be really awkward in your mind. And then to the other people, you say, I have an idea. And then you give an idea for things that you all could do together. Some of my favorites are we could take a shower together. We could give each other back massages. And then if they respond positively, they say, yes, that sounds great. Then you take them by the hand and you go do it. So you're not losing the momentum.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like a requirement. Sometimes people are ready to go right off the bat. And you can say, I have an idea. Let's all fuck each other. And they go, great.
I have an idea. Let's all fuck each other.
If you're starting out.
That is the best idea. Was that everything that was talked about in the threesome talk?
It was like 2 hours. And he charges for it. So go take the workshop.
Take the workshop.
You should set up the expectation that it's okay to stop at any time for any reason. Even if you're not stopped, you check in frequently to make sure that everyone is feeling okay and getting their needs met.
It's the same advice I would give to someone who is having sex with a new person one-on-one, which is to say you should check your consent. Making sure that the person that you are enjoying a sexual encounter with is themselves also enjoying that sexual encounter is pretty freaking hot. And in the threesome environment, you do the same thing. You just have one more person involved.
Yep.
How can threesomes mess up things? Is jealousy a factor?
Yeah. Seeing your partner with someone else can bring up a lot of emotions for people in a way that just knowing that your partner is on a date with someone else doesn't. Especially if it's your first time opening up your relationship. Yeah, there may be jealousy. It's important to differentiate between jealousy and envy. I think of envy as being more like, I want something that my partner has and I feel like I can't get it.
Right.
And then jealousy is...
I wish they didn't have that.
Yeah. So I felt envy sometimes. Like, oh, that looks like a lot of fun. And so the nice thing about threesomes is that it's kind of instant gratification. You can just be like, oh, that looks fun. Can we try that next?
That's awesome, actually. That's really great.
Yeah. If it is really, I wish they didn't have that, call for a timeout and talk about that a little bit.
If you as a couple entered into a threesome scenario and then you're really, really enjoying it, don't resent your partner if they start feeling bad about it and they change their mind, or if they need to just slow things down. No matter how much you're enjoying whatever's going on, hopefully your partner is more important to you. On the other side of the fence, if you're the partner who's not enjoying what's going on, then don't just keep it to yourself and bottle up that resentment. The sooner you convey it when it's still a small bad emotion, the better you can work through it. Maybe you've just discovered that threesomes aren't for you. Or maybe you've discovered that it's such a tumultuous experience, you need to slow things down, but you're still kind of enjoying it. Those are all fine feelings to have, but you need to communicate that with your primary partner. Otherwise, you could potentially open up a crack in your relationship.
Yeah, taking a threesome slow with a lot of kissing and touching can be really nice. Also toys. Have them use them.
I like how you keep on bringing up toys over it. We should get a sponsor.
They're so important for a threesome.
Toys are great because toys rarely have performance issues. Toys almost never have performance issues, so long as you've got batteries and whatnot. Threesomes as part of a permanent configuration versus a transient one.
The first couple that I had a threesome with, we ended up dating for a year, though we weren't exclusive as a triad. I think, you treat it like any relationship. Like if you want to see someone more regularly, like you tell them that.
If I had sex with someone in a somewhat undefined scenario, and then I wanted it to just stay casual or be a friends with benefits thing or be a part of a dating structure, I would be able to make up my own mind and immediately convey that to the person with whom I'm having sex. But as a couple, shouldn't you talk about it first?
I actually think it's perfectly fine for different members of the couple to have different, to come to different conclusions on that question. Maybe, I had fun, but I'm really busy right now, and I'd like to see that person again occasionally, but not have it be a serious dating relationship, whereas my partner maybe is really feeling some genuine attraction to that person and may want to start dating them independent of me, which in our relationship structure would be fine. That can be kind of nice because then you have this built-in threesome potential.
That works well for people who have polyamorous mindsets.
Yeah.
Can threesomes only happen for people who are polyamorous? I don't think that's true. I think you can have threesomes even if you're not.
Yeah.
I think that if you are part of a couple where, for the most part, you are monogamous or monogamish, then you shouldn't necessarily make that decision on the fly. You should actually talk about it with your partner first.
Yeah, if you don't want them to, go off and do their own thing with that person.
There is a distinction between the two people having sex with a third person and each of the individual components of the couple deciding whether they want to have a third person. Those are two different things. So if you're polyamorous and you're open in general in your relationship, then you can just make up your own mind as whether you want your threesome partner. English isn't good enough for this. You can decide on your own whether or not you want to have the third person of your threesome be casual or more serious. But if you are not poly, and if you're not generally an open relationship, and you're just trying threesomes as a way of spicing up your primary relationship, then you should talk about it with your primary partner before you extend that scenario. You can talk about it in advance, you can talk about it after your encounter, but you should talk about it before one of you says to that third person, let's do this again. What if your partner just wanted it to be once? What if your partner wants to try other people? Talk it out. Toys. I wanted to say it first that time. I hope we've helped. I hope you liked this video. If you did like the video, please click on the like down below. And please subscribe to the video. And if you have questions about other topics, please send them in. I cannot get enough questions. I cannot get enough submissions. I want tons of them filling up my mailbox.
Submit to Paul.
Submit to me. And after all of this information, if you still go into a threesome scenario and you have problems, it's probably you.
It's funny being here and seeing you act out liking it in the YouTube frame because you pointed basically to your crotch.
Yes.
Please like it.
Please like my crotch. It needs some liking. I mean, it does. So that's not a lie.